Okay, today what we're going to look at is how to turn a photograph into a sketch. So here's my photograph, and I really just want this flower. I don't want the one in back. And that's going to be the focus of my painting. So I want to find out, I want to scribble on the back of my photograph just where my focus is. So I've held it up to the light so I can see through it, and then I define the area with a pencil, which is showing you where my area of focus is on the back of the photograph. I mean, it's not a real photograph, it's a printout. So that's going to be my area of interest. So I turn it over and I scribble. This is a technical term. I scribble all over the back, so that what I'm doing is I'm putting down a layer of carbon. Now, some people will use carbon paper to do the same technique, but I find that carbon paper is very expensive, and number 2 pencils are not so expensive. So here we have the whole area of interest scribbled, and I do it in 2 directions to be sure that I got it all, and that there's lots of carbon. Now, turn it over, and I get my paper. The paper is tapped down on a board, and I position my flower in the middle of my paper, and just to be sure it doesn't move too much, I put a little bit of tape, just enough to hold the thing in place so it doesn't wobble on me. So now I take a ballpoint pen and I go around all the bits of my focus so that I'm basically tracing this with the pen. Which is going to give me my sketch. So here we go, the final petal. And I notice things when I trace it that I don't notice when I first pick out the photo, like this little curve in that petal. And this is my yellow. And I notice that this curve is it's like a little pleat. And there are some rays coming out of the petal. Just as this is a bit of darkerness, that's not a word, but it's a bit darker. So there we go. And I think the stem, I think this is probably the stem. I don't think I'm gonna worry about the stem, because I don't think I'm gonna do that as a background. I'm just gonna do a blotchy background, because this background is pretty blotchy. Okay, so now we have a sketch, like magic. Hopefully you can see that. Let me see if I can zoom in on it a bit.